All right, tradies, today we're digging deeper into something that almost every single one of you have felt at some point: getting paid without feeling awkward. Because it's not that you don't know you need to get paid, it's that weird feeling in your stomach when you think, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to look desperate. They're good clients. I don't want to ruin it. What if they think I only care about money? And here's the thing. You're decent humans. Most tradies are. You don't want to be pushy, you don't want to be aggressive, and you don't want to look like you're hounding someone. But here's what you need to separate right from the start. There's a massive difference between being awkward and being professional. Today, we're unpacking why it feels awkward, why most late payments aren't personal, how systems remove emotion, and what to say when someone delays payment, and how to set boundaries without damaging relationship. Let's get into it. Why it feels so personal. Money is emotional. When someone hasn't paid you, it can feel like they don't value your work, they're disrespecting your time, they're taking advantage. But most of the time, that's not what's happening. Most of the time, it's admin. Life is busy. They saw the invoice, they meant to pay it. They asked their partner to sort it. They're waiting until they sat at the computer. It went to spam. They forgot. We see this constantly. 9 times out of 10, it's not malice. But if you don't follow up quickly, it becomes a habit. And habits are what damage cash flow. Awkward only exists when there's no system. Let's be really clear about this. Awkwardness usually happens when payment terms weren't clear, you never mentioned when payment was due, you feel like you're springing it on them, you've left it 3 weeks overdue before saying anything. If your quote clearly says 50% deposit required, balance invoiced on completion, 7 days payment terms, you're verbally reinforcing that when they accept the quote, then you're not being awkward later. You're just following the agreed process. Systems remove emotion. Why automatic reminders are your best friend. So many tradies avoid automatic reminders in Xero or Fergus because they think it's impersonal or harsh. Let's flip that. Automatic reminders are neutral. They go out consistently. They don't get emotional. They don't overthink it. They don't feel guilty. It's just a system. And if someone pays the morning of the due date and the reminder goes out before the bank is reconciled, that's no drama. You simply reply, thanks for that, we've just reconciled it and can see your payment, appreciate it. And then send a receipt. Professional, calm, finished. The longer you delay reminders because you're worried about perception, the more you train clients that your due dates aren't real. It starts before the job even begins. This is the part people skip. If you want accounts receivable to feel smooth, it starts before you even step on site. When a client accepts your quote, say, just so you know, we take a 50% deposit up front and the balance is invoiced the day we finish. Payment terms are 7 days. Say it calmly, like it's normal, because it is normal. You're not asking permission, you're explaining your process. That removes the awkwardness later. Deposits change the dynamic. Deposits are powerful. They improve cash flow immediately, reduce risk, filter out time wasters, make the final payment feel smaller. With tools like Fergus, you can attach a deposit invoice directly to your quote. It saves time and sets the tone. Clients see you're organised and you're professional. First, friendly follow-up. If the invoice has just tipped overdue, Keep it simple. Hey, John, just touching base as invoice 123 is now overdue. Just checking you received it okay. Let me know if you need it resent. Notice what it does. Assumes good intention. Opens the door for an easy explanation. Doesn't accuse. Most of the time you'll get, oh, sorry, we'll sort that now. And that's the end of it. Script. When they say, I'll pay you next week. This is one that makes people uncomfortable. Client says, I'll pay you next week. First question, are they within agreed terms? If not, you hold the boundary calmly. I understand our payment terms are 7 days because we've got wages and supplies to cover. Is it a specific day next week I can expect it? Now you've reinforced your terms. Ask for commitment. And if they say Thursday, you diarise it for Thursday. If Thursday comes and goes, you follow up immediately. Not 2 weeks later. Boundaries are only real if you hold them. When you're starting out and scared to push, this is where it's hardest. When you're building your name, when you want referrals, when you don't want to upset anyone. But here's the reality. Clients respect clear boundaries rather than vague ones. One gets annoyed because you followed agreed payment terms. That's not a relationship worth protecting. You're running a business, not a charity. Use a buffer between you and the chasing. If you really hate chasing payments personally, create separation. Set up an account's email address, even if it still forwards to you, or have someone else manage it. That way, if a client rings and says, bit keen with that reminder, you can say, yes, accounts runs that automatically once invoices go overdue. It removes the personal sting. Pick up the phone. Don't hide behind emails. If something feels off, call. Hey mate, just checking in about that invoice. Everything all good? Short, calm, direct. Often they apologize and pay while you're on the phone. Phone calls cut through the excuses. The bigger picture, cash flow momentum. Late payments just don't delay money. They slow momentum, create stress, force you to juggle bills, make you hesitant to book in new work. When your receivables are clean and under control, you operate differently. You're calmer, you're clearer. You're not checking the bank account every morning with anxiety. And that changes how you show up in your business. What good looks like. Good accounts receivable looks like clear payment terms everywhere, deposits taken when appropriate, automatic reminders switched on, weekly age receivables review, immediately follow up once overdue, calm, confident communication, no emotion, no guilt, just process. One action this week. Turn on automatic reminders or rewrite your payment terms to be clearer, or practice the I will pay you next week script out loud so you don't freeze when it happens. Confidence comes from preparation. Getting paid is not awkward. It only feels awkward when you don't have a system. When you've done the job, you deserve to be paid. Clear expectations, consistent reminders, strong boundaries. That's how you get paid without damaging relationships. And if you'd rather not be the one chasing it at all, that's exactly what we do at Virtual Coastie. Catch you in the next episode.